Now, if you're brave enough to watch my last video all on chord personalities the whole way through, you'll know that the 4 chord is one of the most common chords that comes up in music. And a common key to playing in the ukulele, because it has a really lovely relaxed sound, is the key of F. While the 4 chord in the key of F is B flat, because we have F, G, A, B flat. The 4th note of the key of F is B flat. What that means is, if you're playing songs in the key of F, that B flat chord is going to come up all the time. That's why you see it so often, and that's why we need to learn it. So let's have a look at the basics. We're going to look at a barred B flat first, then we're going to look at an alternative version. So a barred B flat looks something like this. Your index finger is going to cover all of the strings at the 1st fret. Your 2nd finger is going to go on the C string at the 2nd fret, and your 3rd finger is going to go on the G string at the 3rd fret. Now here's some tips right away. Remember when we looked at barring, when we were looking at the D7 chord, that we want to get this index finger as close to the right hand side, this one here, as close to this metal fret as possible. The area of highest tension on the whole of your ukulele is near this nut. So we don't want to put our finger back here. We want to get it as close to that fret as possible. We also want a little bit of your finger at least poking over the top of the neck. So we're using the middle to lower part of our index finger to bar this fret, rather than just stopping where the tip of your index finger touches the G string. What that means is you're using the strongest part of your finger, and it also means that you can reach comfortably over all these strings. The other thing that does by using the lower part of your finger is it forces this 2nd and 3rd finger to stand up nice and proud and tall on the next 2 strings. Notice what happens as I pull down. Necessarily, these 2 fingers have to flatten, and that's when we start to get this sound happening, because these 2 fingers are interfering with the strings below. So we want to be near the fret, lower part of the finger. These 2 want to be as close to the metal frets as possible as well. And remember, with this index finger, look what's happening. It's only needing to push down on these 2 strings here, because the 2 strings up here are covered by these 2 fingers, right? So as you apply pressure to this index finger, just know that you need to push most pressure towards the bottom there, and only as hard as it needs to get those strings to touch the metal fret to the right of it. So there's no good squeezing up here for all your life, because there's no need. That's covered by these 2 fingers. And I want you to practice strumming that. Go through each string and checking that it's ringing out nice and clear. If you find it's like this, chances are that one of the strings has fallen into one of the creases of your index finger, and you just need to practice moving it up and down until it rings clear. If it's this string that's making this noise, it could be but that this finger has fallen down onto it, so make sure it's standing up nice and proud. And likewise, if it's this string that's muted, make sure that this finger hasn't fallen down on top, that it's sitting nice and proud. Remember, in the video on bar chords, the thumb has a few options. It can sit just to the left of your index finger, which spreads the pressure and is a nice way of spreading the pressure across your fingers and thumbs. You can try the body mechanics of moving it to the right of that index finger, in which case you're going to twist your chord towards this index finger to push it against the strings. What we want to avoid most is having it directly behind the index finger and just pinching, because that can take quite a lot of pressure. Of course, the fact that we only need to cover these bottom 2 strings with this index finger means that we don't necessarily have to bar the whole of the 1st fret. A perfectly valid way of holding down this B flat chord is to drop this finger down so that it's covering the bottom 2 strings, 1 finger covering 2 strings, this finger here and this finger here. Now notice that in order to keep a straight arm and not have my arm weighing against my body where it feels uncomfortable, that my fingers are at a slight angle. This allows me to reach across the strings without flattening onto the strings below. So if you are going to go for this version, allow those fingers to have a slight angle on them. A nice way I like to practice this version is one string at a time. So place this finger on these two strings down here and just check. Whoops, wrong ones. Just check that they're ringing out clear. If they're sounding a bit muffled, you might have to press just a little harder or bring that finger slightly towards this metal fret and away from the nut. Then place just this finger down. Check that it's not touching the string below. Keep that nice arch and practice all three. If you've put this one on and this string here, the E string is muffling, chances are it's flattened and you need to raise it. And then when you've got those three in order, put your third finger on the top string and practice they all ring out nice and clear. Now here's why I prefer to do the barred version of this B flat. Because it's such a common chord, if the only way you can do it is like this for now, that's cool. Go for it because it's such a common chord. I'd rather you could play it one way than not at all. So that's totally cool if that's the only way for now. The reason eventually that I prefer this barred version is because it's a brilliant chord shape and it allows you to do lots of other things. Now I'll go over these in more detail in a later video when we look at each chord. But just know, this chord is a B flat. Now if I take away this finger, it's a B flat 7. Now if I take away this finger in the middle, I have a B flat minor. So B flat minor, B7. And if I take away all but the index finger, I have a B flat minor 7. So that's loads of chords that I can make just by taking away one finger at a time. And if we combine that with our movable chords thing we were talking about with our D7, I can then turn that into loads of other chords, because if I move it up, I have a B and a B7 and a B minor and a B minor 7, a C, C7, C minor, C minor 7. Don't worry if that was all a bit much, that last bit, but just know that having that, being able to bar there is potentially a really great benefit for some things to come later on. Let's have a look at putting that in a chord combination. We're going to look at the really lovely Bob Marley song, 3 Little Birds. The reason I love this one is it's only 3 chords. It's the 1, 4 and 5 chords, as I talked about in the last video, but also it has a really nice relaxed vibe, and it's a really good idea to choose a relaxed song when we're trying a tough chord for the first time. The verse of this song is quite simply F, followed by that B flat chord. Now I don't mind if you do it this way or this way. Either's fine for now, okay, but we're going to go from F to B flat. We're going to strum just a gentle up and down strum, and we're going to strum F for 4 measures. 1, this is 4/4 timing, so that's counts of 4 by the way. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to play 2 measures of B flat, 2 counts of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go back to F for another 2 measures. And then we do it all over again. Let's have a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, B flats, 1, 2, back to F, 1, 2. Keep that going. Don't worry about a thing. Here's our B flat. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Said don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. I can't believe I got the words wrong in the easiest verse of all time. You'll forgive me, won't you? So that's the verses, quite simply F to B flat. And if you were watching my last video, that's that 1-4 combination, a really common pattern. 1 being the home chord, making you feel settled. 1 chord sets us off. And then the 4 chord, remember, just gives a bit of inoffensive change. 4 chord gives change and we're back to 1. Now the chorus is slightly different. We start on the 1, the F chord. Then we have the 5 chord, which in the key of F is C. F, G, A, B flat, C. Go back to 1. And a B flat. Back to F again. Another C. Finish with B flat and back to 1. Notice we always go back to 1. As I said in the last video, that's where everything feels settled and resolved. Now, as you know, I like to make my learning cyclical. I think it really helps people to go over things that they've learned before. So let's get a bit of practice on the adding an accent to 2 and 4. So if every measure in this song has 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, what we can do is strum up and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But every time you hear 2 and 4, just push ever so slightly harder with your right hand so we have a slight accent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It just creates this lovely kind of relaxed island vibe which goes perfectly with this song. If that's too much at the moment and it's hard enough just concentrating on getting that B flat chord, either way, just leave it out and just strum along with me up and down and that'll be absolutely fine. But it's a good way of practicing that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That lovely accented strum we learned a few lessons ago. All of the chords will be up on the screen in the correct order with the chord boxes above me. If you know the words and you want to sing along, please do, because it's a lovely relaxing song to sing. But just really concentrate on those B flat chords for now, getting them sounding as clean as possible, and if you like, adding that accent strum. Here we go. Come in after 1, 2, 3, don't. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smart with the rising sun. 3 little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Singing don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smiled with the rising sun. 3 little birds are on my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies oh so true, saying Well done, everyone. I think they should prescribe that on the NHS. Such a lovely, relaxing song, isn't it? Even with those pesky B flats. So keep practicing that round and round, taking time to pay attention to all those little hints, keeping those fingers as close to that metal fret as possible, not pushing too hard. Nice angle. Tip of the finger over the top, so we're using the lower part of our thumb and not allowing these fingers to collapse. If we're doing it this way, keeping those nice angles rather than straight and arching those fingers up. It might take a little while to get that perfect. It's a particularly difficult skill to do, barring two strings at the same time whilst also fingering these two. So take your time, be kind to yourself, allow yourself a little bit of leeway and just enjoy it as much as you possibly can.